Okay, so I hope everyone had a wonderful year last year, and hopefully, I think our dedications towards the coming years in regards to our own development, whether it be our in regards to our practice or in regards to our mental health, uh, and also in regards to our physical health, and also in regards to our karma. So I think the goal to develop that. Normally we say, what do we say? The term every new year you make sort of like a wish or something like that. So something like that. In regards to that, we make strong dedications towards that. And then, like I said earlier, the time in regards to understanding it, it's mostly based on the concept of merely labeling, as Kyabje Lama Thupten Zopa Rinpoche always say. So it's on the basis of merely labeling. So how we label it, how different societies label it, how different cultures label it. That one, the label changes. For some, it's 2000. I don't know. I think in Nepal it's 2000 over 2080 something now. uh, but then anyway, these are all concepts. Mainly is the utilization of the time that we have. And I think that's the most important aspect in regards to our own development and in regards to practice. So a very, very happy new year to everyone. And yeah, hopefully a lot of achievements and lot of attainments and a lot of development coming forth in the years, yeah, and especially in this year. And I think we have had quite a chaotic year last year, so hopefully this year will be less chaotic. A lot of people experience chaotic, sort of a chaotic year. So hopefully coming this year and the coming years less chaotic as people develop. I think one reason why development is important is because with development comes less chaos. So definitely that's also one of the goals, one of the main goals of why development is important. So anyway, with that said, today we're going through what we say, Chive Pardo, uh, Chive Pardo of dying or death Pardo. So anyway, a little bit of a uh, what we say, a little bit of a hard topic as we something I think people find it quite hard to deal with or quite hard to easily deal with it or quite hard to what we say confront it in some sense. So I think most of the practice, one of course, Pardo Thodol uh, is what we are mainly discussing. The whole what we say talk is based on. But then I would also like to add uh, from the Dzogchen context as well. And I think mostly the most important aspect that we are more familiar with in regards to this practice, I think, is Lama Tsongkhapa was Je Tsongkhapa's Lamrim Chemo. So within the Lamrim Chemo, is very extensively also discussed in regards to practice during the death and the reason why behind it. So I think we start with a few points to um why the practice of Bardo is important. And of course, normally they explain it as the unique spiritual doorway. So how or why it is the unique spiritual doorway. Everyone can hear me okay? Yeah, okay. So yeah, so in regards to why it is the unique spiritual doorway in regards to practice. So I think that one we start with. So before we start, like I said, Happy New Year to everyone once again. Sangye je dang zoge chanam la chanchu padu dane yepsun che dage je soge be sonam ge dola penche sangye do baishu sangye je dang zoge chanam chanchu padu dane yepsun che dage je soge be sonam ge dola penche sangye do baishu sangye je dang zoge chanam la chanchu padu dane yepsun che dage je soge be sonam dola penche sangye do baishu. Yeah, so just as the prayer suggests, Sangye Chedon Tsoge Zonamla, Chajopada Dani Gyapsunje. So taking refuge in the three principles, the three gems until I reach enlightenment. Yeah, that is the dedication. And then just Dage Soge Zonam Kiso, whatever what do we say, whatever talk is Sonamji talk. Sonamji talk is more like a marriage. Yeah, I think in translation is marriage. So whatever marriage that I've created, how much ever marriage that I've created, that marriage I dedicate towards developing the Sangha so that I can benefit all sentient beings by attaining enlightenment. So just as the prayer suggests enlightenment at the end of the day, I think one of the most important aspects uh, that we need to accomplish. Yeah, that is the goal. But then grasping towards the concept of enlightenment, it's not the way. The way is to enjoy the path towards the enlightenment. The way is to embrace the path towards enlightenment. The way is to make the path to enlightenment a sort of like a daily chore. Yeah, something that we are not familiar with. If we try first time, it becomes hard, and this is where as sentient beings, practitioners on the path, sentient beings as practitioners on the path, we are at that point where we are trying to make it easy to reach that what I say, that enlightenment point, or the make easy the way to enlightenment. And I think this is done through the practice. Now, one of the hardest points when we, in regards to practice, is of course death. I think yeah, uh, when the thought of death comes, then fear naturally, unless we are controlling it, very willingly controlling it, very strongly controlling it, imposingly sort of like controlling the fear. Unless that, then fear pops up. When someone close to you passes away, when your own death comes near, especially when there's an accident, sickness comes, then there's fear of death. It very naturally comes. Utilization of that uh, process of death, I think, not normally doesn't, what we say, we our mind normally doesn't pick up. So uh, so anyway, in regards to practice, I think one of the things is, I always say, I like to use the word embracing death. So the concept of embracing death, I think, comes from understanding the true nature of reality itself. Yeah, that death is a part of living. It's not just, I think some people like to use the term acceptance, but I don't think it's just acceptance. I think it's utilization of knowing what do we say, knowing the truth. Yeah. Knowing that this is one of the, what do we say, one of the paths towards, sort of like one of the jumping points towards realization as well. So definitely, when it comes to utilization, there's a lot of means and usage of methods how to utilize. And this, like I said, of course, today we'll be talking a lot in regards to what are the utilizations. But within that as well, there are different aspects of practice that can be utilized in the process of dying as well. And like I said, this includes from Lamrim Chemo, from the Dzogchen practice, and from the Bardo practice as well. So it's sort of like a combination of all. So I think something like that. It's the concept of unique spiritual doorway, the practice of death. why the practice of death, or why death itself is a unique spiritual doorway. I think let's break it down into maybe 6 different reasons, right? So let's talk about first. I think one of the first reasons, I think, in regards to uh, the mind's level. Yeah. So in regards to the mind, the concept of the mind, there's many different levels. Generally, we normally say gross and subtle, right? So the gross mind and the subtle mind, I think we sort of like what do we say? Um, compile it in that sense. So uh, first, I think understanding, because the gross mind uh, naturally sort of like seizes. Yeah. So understanding our gross mind appearance of our gross mind comes from a lot of different factors, and one of the factors being uh, that the gross mind is so dependent on the body. Yeah, the senses, for example, are so dependent on the body. What you see in front of you is dependent. Yeah, our awareness is awakened with what we see in front of us. If we see something scary uh, approaching us, then fear suddenly comes up. Right? If we see something beautiful in front of us, then what we say, attachment. Yeah. Whether it be attachment, whether it be appreciation, whether whatever it may be, these feelings are very naturally, sort of like arising. And the reason, like I said, the reason behind the whole concept is because the what do we say, the gross mind is very easily what do we say, very easy, it very apprehends the concepts that are based on the, well, like I said, the different senses, very easily capture those senses, right? So that is there, especially in regards to the gross mind. Why the gross mind uh, sort of like is so, because the gross mind is so dependent on the form itself, on the constructs of the form, on the constructs of not the mental idea, not the mental concepts, like the ideas and the concepts and the views and the perspectives, not these, but more on the, what we say, on the structural side, on the essence side, on the sense side, right? So based on that, then I think through that, because of that, then the gross mind is constantly entangled with the body. Yeah. And then what we say, when the five senses, I think later on we'll talk about the what we say, uh, deceasing, the what we say, the steps of deceasing, yeah, steps of death. And in regards to that, then comes the, the what we say, the five senses slowly disappearing. So because the five sense put, the five sense with the body, the five senses also disappear, then also the what we say, the mind pulling towards the idea of dependence on the senses, that also uh, brings onward a lot of fear, a lot of, yeah, just I think one of the basic practices in regards to death, understanding death, I think, is in regards to understanding, just visualizing that your senses are disappearing. First, your eye sense. Imagine at one point, you not having an eye. You don't see the loved ones. You don't see the things that you have accumulated. Well, when we say a whole life, we accumulate things. We buy car, we buy house. We buy one first. We get a one room. Then we fill the buy things. Then we fill up the one room. Then that one room is too small. Then we buy a two, what we call, 2 BHK. So then you have 2 rooms. Now you have one room for you, and then one room for your things. Then after that, you buy more things. Then you get 3 rooms. Now then you get a car. Then you need to get a room for the car as well. So, so accumulation of things. So anyway, just imagine, yeah, like this, all of those accumulations suddenly disappear. No more accumulation. Accumulation is there, but then your what we say, uh, your inability to perceive those accumulations mentally is there. Mentally, understanding is there. The mind is there, whether it be the subtle level or the gross level. The understanding is there. Yes, I have this, I have that. Oh, yeah, I have a son, I have a daughter, I have a husband, I have a wife, I have a house, I have a car, I have this, I have clothes. This is only there in what we say, 不是多吧, 这些 is like memory, only in memory. At the moment, oh yeah, I have tea, so then oh yeah, I can drink my tea, so then my hand move out, then take the cup up, then drink. But at some point I have tea is there, but then there's no movement, there's no visual seeing, there's no context. So uh, I think the mind starts to become very, very uh, agitated sort of thing. uh, so something like that, I think. Yeah. So anyway, that is there, the losses of self, the five senses, and then of course, what we say, uh, 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 the main thing that truly exists at that time, I think, is only the perception, only I mean the mind going around and round and round and contemplating on the basis of the memory. Yeah. The jeshe, the existence of the jeshe is what the mind can, this is the only thing that the mind can work with. Yeah, there's nothing physical, nothing tangible. Yeah, there's no, like I said, when the body is gone, then these things don't exist. Then it's not just the eye consciousness, it's the ear consciousness. It exists, but it only exists in the sort of like the lineage of a memory, or the continuity of the memory of the past things. Sometime after you went for a long holiday in the Himalayas, then you come back to the city and then you sit in your room. There's pollution, sound, smoke, yeah, all of that. Then you close your eyes. Then sometimes you can sense the Himalayas. People who live in the farm, then sometimes they sit down like this, they relax, they can smell the what is the earthy, what do you call that? The earthiness. Yeah. So this is not that it is there, it's just the jeshe, contemplation of the jeshe working. Yeah, the contemplation of the memory working. So I think it's very, very similar to that, how our mind actually perceives and conceives at that time. So the loss, the connection, the lost connection between the body and this one, I think sort of like freaks out the mind. So the only thing is, if the mind is definitely, first thing is calming the mind down, because takes long time to calm the mind down, right? Yeah, even when there's physical, even when there's all of these right in front of us, still the mind gets agitated and it takes time to calm down. Now imagine, and of course this calming down can rely on what we say, on touch, on closeness, on friendship, on friends, on family, on loved ones, because the body can still feel these things, the warmth. But then imagine that is also not there now. Now you're going into a different level of and it's scary. It's very scary to deal with, I think, unless you have the right mindset to actually, what we say, the right set of the mind that is very has a very strong composure towards it. Otherwise, it's very hard to deal with, I think. So similarly, based on that, I think the whole concept of the practice again arises. Yeah. Then, like I said, because all of these are lost, then anything that is going on, or that you are able to contemplate in the mind, is the only thing that you can contemplate in the mind is I think two different things. One, I think, is what do we say, because at that point the mind is totally dominated by these conceptual, what we say, not conceptual, um, uh, Oh yeah, conceptual thoughts. Yeah, so dominated by the core conceptual thoughts. So the only thing you what we can do at that point is rely on those conceptual thoughts. And like I said, karma is one of the first steps towards creating conditions is the thought, the mind. Even in the steps of creating karma, the first thing we always point out is motivation, is the mind. So at that point, when what we say, when the core conceptual thought is so important, then the reliance on the core conceptual thought is so important, then it's I think it's important. What is it, the core conceptual thought, right? Because if the core conceptual thought is full of attachment and greed and loss and that and this, then you're going to be freaking out the whole time. And if the conceptual thought is at peace, is in accordance with the what we say, with the familiarity of the process of death, now the mind has something to think about, something to concentrate on, something to focus on, something to be uh, not not freaking out about. I think similar to our first journey, we say, when you are first going to a new place, then of course, there's excitement is there. That is different. The excitement is in regards to what you can see and what you can do and things like that. But then, together with that, there's also fear. Yeah, there's also anxiety when who you're going to meet, how you're going to reach that place, how you're going to manage this, where you need to put. Nowadays, I think the world has become very small because now you have social media. You can book the rooms, you can book the car, you don't have to go. But imagine if you couldn't do all of those, then I think the mind would so I think something similar to that. But if you have done that 100 times, if you have traveled around the world 100 times, then you are very used to it. And our ability to function better, whether it be mentally, whether it be physically, that one of course comes with it. So, of course, again, another reason to why the practice is so important, yeah, is to be able to utilize the core conceptual thought that is the only thing that you can rely on at that point when the body disappears, when your friends disappear, when your family disappear, when the house you have disappear, when your everything protection, we utilize all of that for our own safety. You have locks on the door and that and this. All of those are gone now. You cannot depend on those anymore. So, uh, only thing you can depend on is the core conceptual thought. And that core conceptual thought in regards to the gross mind, whether it is entangled, whether it has a very strong attachment towards the body and towards what the concept of I and what the I has done when it had a body, or whether it is free of that and it can focus on the process and the utilization of the path. Now that is the whole difference in how we react now. So the whole, I mean, one of the reasons why the practice is there is so that you are able to utilize the course conceptual thought at that point when everything else is lost, when there's nothing else to depend on. So another important point, I think, in regards to the process of dying. Yeah, so something like that. Then, of course, then comes, I think, like I said, all of this discontinues. Now, the continuity, I think, in regards to the first steps of death, I think, in regards to dissolving elements, right? So, as the elements dissolve, then sensory consciousness shuts down, like I mentioned earlier. Yeah, one by one, the sensory consciousness shuts down. Then what we say, all of this, when all of this shut down, then the collapsion, yeah, we call it collapsion, when something collapse, falls down. So one thing collapse, then two thing collapse, then slowly the essence itself, understanding of the of your is not just understanding. I think it's the feeling inside. So easily connected feeling sort of thing. Is like sort of like the connection lost between the body and the mind. At the moment, my body is here. I'm existent. I can, if I want to put my hand out like this, I can. If I want to take my hand back, I can. If I want to wear a hat, I can. It's so easy. I don't even need to, when it's cold, then I don't even need to order, like say, hey, hand, move, do this. I don't even have to do that. My hand naturally moves around. Yeah? When it's cold, our hand naturally does this. Right? So similar to that, I think because our natural means is so what we say, so it comes so naturally. But then at that time, even when you want, and even when you order and you command and you wish, it doesn't happen. And now that link is completely what is gone. So again, I think that whole connection sort of like collapses. Then the mind that remains is, I think, mostly the subtle mind. Yeah, the subtle mind. Subtle. I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyway, the subtle mind. Yeah. So the mind that remains is the subtle mind. Whether it's clear or not, that is dependent on the practice. Yeah. Whether it's conceptual or non-conceptual, that again dependent on the practice. Yeah. Because the mind, or the whole concept of the mind itself, is dependent on the practice. Yeah. If you have practiced 1,000 times to what we say, to how to react in a stressful situation. If you have practiced 1,000 times, then you can. Yeah, when the stressful situation comes in front of you, then you can react in a good way. When you don't have practice, then the reaction is all over the place. And then you let the emotions come out. Then instead of doing the right thing, you tend to do all the wrong things. Yeah, that of course, fear, when fear takes over, when anxiety, when all of these different, what we say, destructive emotions take over, then again, our reaction is completely different. So the dependence on that is important, and therefore how we, whether we are able to utilize the full, what we say, the full form, or the primary mind itself, or whether we are able to utilize the subtle mind. This one, I think, depends a lot on the practice. Yeah, so anyway, that is there. Basically, mm, in the Bardo turtle, I think uh, it's mentioned, when it talks about the clear light, it's mentioned that the what is ordinary? Yeah, the ordinary mind sort of like ceases, stops existing. Whether it seems to cease or not, I don't know. But then that's how it's mentioned, right? I think it seems to cease to exist. And then what is left is the word they say naked, yeah, the naked consciousness. Yeah. So naked consciousness, the true essence of the mind itself, the clear and knowing, that one is very aware, the what we say, sort of like aware. It's like, I think, owl. Is it owl? Yeah. Daytime the owls sleep. I don't know whether they sleep or not, but generally in the text they say the daytime the owl is like this. Then nighttime, when the night goes, and then they have these eyes that are very useful at nighttime. So their eyes work better at nighttime. It's mentioned in the text, something like that. I don't know whether that's true or not, but in the text mentioned like that. So at nighttime, then they're like, oh, they're aware. And this is, I think you can see in their in their face, right? Their big eyes like this. So, so I think the mind, something like that. The awareness level sort of like peaks at that point when nothing is there. So dependence disappears, then the awareness level peaks, then utilization of that awareness level. I think now we are getting into the practice of the bardo, utilization of that awareness, how you want to use that awareness during the time of death. Of course, now depending on the on how it's explained, generally they say what we say s- what is it, 14, I think 14 days, yeah, 14 days, I think it's 14 days, 7 or 14 days anyway. uh, uh, After death, the bardo period minimum, oh, I think it's 14 days. I can't remember whether it's 7 days or 14 days. I think it is 14 days. Yeah. So anyway, so that is the general concept. Then if the attachment and the what the grasping is so strong, then that 14 days turns into what do you say, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 days. Yeah, then again, if it's still strong, and this is like I said, this is the point of view from our perspective. Yeah, within the Pardo itself, I don't think there is the concept of days and concept. I mean, the sort of like the whole concept of time itself, sort of like I think vanishes. I think we talked about it in one of the sessions earlier, well, the whole concept of time sort of collapses. But then we need, as human beings in in the body, samsaric body, then we need the concept of time. So mentioned, I think 14 days anyway. So the period 14 days, then every 14 days, if you have not worked with the attachment, and if the throwing karma, if you're dependent on the throwing karma, and the throwing karma is doesn't ripen, then it extends one more week, one more week, one more week, like this. Just keeps on extending. This is why people with a lot of issues in regards to dealing with the mind itself is not cleared out, and the karma, the karmic essences are not cleared out, then the ripening also not cleared out. Sort of like I think if you run a business, then I think every year, one, two, three times, yeah, some countries one time, some countries two times, some countries three times, you have to do charter accounting, they say, right? So if you have your accounts clear, then the charter accounting can be done in one day. But if you're very messy, then it takes a long time to do the charter accounting, right? So I think something similar to that, the concept, yeah, the karmic imprint, dependence on the karmic imprint is very vast. We like to think of it very easily. Oh yeah, if you do this, then this will happen. If you do that, then this will happen. But it's not that easy. Yeah, I think there's a mention of the seed, and the tree growing is dependent on the seed. That is very easily explained. Oh yeah, if there's a seed, then the tree grows. If there's no seed, then the tree doesn't grow. But then again, the conditioning is not just the seed, and the seed is so many different external conditions that depend on that, no? So again, like I mentioned, depending on what your motivation is, what your thought is, what your aim is, what your goal is, what your actions are. And in regards to action, there's so many different actions. There's emotional action, there's physical action, there's perceptual action, all kinds of different actions. So you compile all of this, now you have a very messy charter account. Yeah, a very messy account. So takes sort of like takes time to clear out all of that. So something like that, I think, regards to karma, the ripening of the karma, after it is cleared out, then it starts to ripen. So the messier the karma, then the longer it takes. That I think also mentioned. So that is there. So basically, what the whole concept of what we say, the gross mind naturally ceasing is based on all of this. Yeah. So the first one, I think, because why death is a unique spiritual doorway is because the first reason is because the gross mind naturally ceases. You cannot depend on the gross mind. You need to depend on the subtle mind. You need to depend on the clear light, because the clear light is at its strongest point at that point, because now the mind has nothing else to work on. It cannot work on the senses. It cannot work on all the different elements. It cannot work on the structure. It cannot physical form. All of this is gone. So now only thing left is the mind, the clear light itself. Now, whether the clear light you're able to awaken or not to that one, like I said, depending on practice. Yeah. So the clear light is there, but whether it's awakened or whether it is just the clear light existence without awareness, that is two complete different things. So in regards to this, so the first one, because the gross mind naturally sort of like naturally ceases. This is the reason. Now the second reason, uh, uh, the second reason I would say is because the gross mind starts to arise, sort of like reveals itself without any what we call um, without any uh, what is the word, uh, manipulation, fabrication. So what is. What arises is what is, sort of thing. So at that point, what is left is what is left. There's nothing else. Yeah. When I think to get a better idea, we look at the natural world. We look at the natural world. There's a lot of manipulation, a lot of fabrication going on, even within our mind itself. Our mind always tell us, "Oh yeah, practice is good. It's good for you. It helps." But then laziness takes over. Yeah. Then what we say, what is the word? Entertainment, diversion of the mind, then senses. Yeah, some people they're meditating like this, then they feel cold, then they cannot concentrate on the meditation. Yeah, then their back starts to hurt, then they cannot concentrate on meditation. Then they remember the things that they have to do tomorrow, yesterday, the things that they forgot to do yesterday, cannot meditate. Then work, cannot meditate. Then if you have a child or a kid, then kids shouting, screaming, crying, cannot meditate. So there's so many things, distractions. Yeah, so many things that are continuously just coming up, popping up over and over. Uh, you say, "Oh, I'm free," but then the time just flies by. I don't know how the time went by. Seems like you are free, but in reality, you're not free. You need to attend to this, you need to work that, you need to put this here, put that there. Like I said, when you have so many things, when you have been a collector of stuffs, and you have 2, 3 rooms full of stuffs, then, then then you need to, what do you say, you need to take care of those stuffs, right? And same thing with when it comes to baggage, I think, in regards to this is now physical. Now mentally, another thing. Yeah, when it comes to worries, when it comes to attending or remembering things, that this, what I need to do, what I haven't done, what I should do, so on and so on. There's so many things coming up. So the focus is completely gone because of the, what we say, of all of these uh, distractions. So at that point, the mind, I think, unless you remind yourself, or unless your attachment and your grasping reminds yourself that the body who used to be there, your family used to be there, your house is there, you worked your whole life to build this and so on. So unless these things are reminded by yourself, the only thing that exists is the essence of the mind. So, because the natural mind, yeah, the nature of the mind, sort of the true nature of the mind, uh, comes to exist there. At the moment, we have a problem identifying, pinpointing down. Within the concept of emptiness, it's mentioned that when you go searching for the I, the self, it's very hard, because you have a body, you have the mind, you have now within the mind you have so many different kinds of different minds. You within the body you have so many. So normally they say when you're pointing, the closer you get to pointing yourself, the you lose where you are supposed to point. Where's the eye? Yeah, you cannot point to the nose and say that's the eye. You cannot point to the head and say that's the eye. You cannot point to the body and say that. So this is there. The too much is there. But then once you have disconnected with all of that, once all of that has dissolved, then the only thing remaining is the memory, the mind itself, the clear essence of the I. So within that, again, I think practice of the view of emptiness becomes very clear and easier, of course, because now you only have a few things to do. If you say the more options you have, the more confused you get, right? In life, yeah. Uh, uh, Yeah, in the olden days, if they had rice, they ate rice. If they had grain, they ate grain. Now you have grain, rice, that, this, all of these things. Now you are confused. What should we eat today? And nowadays, this is one of the most common questions I can ask in the household. In the older days, no. If you had barley, you eat barley. If you had rice, you eat rice. If you had meat, you eat meat. This is the olden days. And nowadays, everyone, what should we eat today? What should we eat today? What should So I think something like that. Anyway, again, the utilization of the practice of the view of emptiness, application of the view of emptiness, again becomes very, very easily, what we say, introduced at that point, because it's only the mind that you need to work with. Yeah. So anyway, so like I said, because so generally in meditation during not during death, but in meditation lifetime, then uh, there's a lot of recognitions that are required, especially in regards to posture. There are some teachers is very strict teachers, and you need to sit in a certain position, you need to look in a certain position, you need to breathe in a certain position, your spines has to be aligned in a certain position, your feet needs to be in the lotus position. There's so many rules and regulations, right? Because we have this body, there's so many rules and regulations. No, without the body, less rules, less regulations, especially in regards to meditation as well. There's these rules do not exist there. You don't have a body. How are you supposed to concentrate on posture? Yeah. So again, another thing in regards to meditation, I think there is that. So we have posture, we have method, we have what we say sustained effort. We have time frame as well. How long? Oh, 5 minutes. And normally we make it. A lot of teachers they say, oh, yeah, half an hour meditate here, half an hour. Then we make it. Oh, if you cannot half an hour, 15 minutes, then 5 minutes. Oh, if you cannot 5 minutes, then maybe 2 minutes. So that also I think disappears. Complete. These all disappear in the concept of the processing of death. So anyway, this is during life. Then during death, these do not exist. Then and everything that is going on in the mind at this point, at this stage of the living bardo, is dependence. Yeah, like I said, fabricated is manipulation within our own mind. Then there is attraction, distraction, so on and so forth. So these now, all of these are gone. The attraction gone, the distraction gone, the manipulation gone, the fabrication gone, all of these are gone. So now the only thing is utilizing that state of none of those, utilizing the state of the nature of the mind revealing itself. So one reason why the death practice is because of that, because it becomes so clear and so independent of everything that we are dependent on right now. These all become independent of all of those. So the practice again becomes very, very strong in that sense. We say if only we could develop single pointed concentration, but it's hard. And the hardness of the single pointed concentration is because of all of this, the dependence of all of this. Is because my back hurts, is because that, is because this, is because money, is because house, is because kids, is because family, is because, all of this. Yeah, at the point of death, whether you want to or whether you don't want to, you separate from all of this. Yeah. I mean, if I was here sitting and I was telling you, oh, you have to disconnect, then that would be a problem. But at that point, it's not that you have to. It naturally you're disconnecting with all of those. It just happens. So now utilization is a different thing, right? At this point, when you are living, then of course, importance is there. Family is important, love is important, everything around you that you have built is important. And therefore, oh, you need to disconnect with this. Generally, kimni kimya parabdo chunga, when you take Novik vows, this is one of the things you disconnect from all of this. Kimni kimya pa. Kimni kimya pa is disconnecting from your family. So this is there. I mean, it's in practice. But like I said, to tell someone to do this when it's important, that is wrong. But then during death, whether you want or whether you don't want or whether you can or whether you cannot, there's no option. You're naturally disconnected with all of that. Karmically connected, but like I said, physical and all of that, this connection is gone. So utilization of that nothingness sort of thing, again, I think important, right? So the true nature of the mind again is sort of something like that. So uh, basically, death, the nature, sort of like the nature itself, revealing itself automatically, not dependent on whether you want or whether you don't want or whether there's not because of skills, not because of what we say obscurations, dissolving, none of those. Yeah, just naturally, automatically, naturally, yeah, free of all of that. Yeah. Whether you want to say free or whether you wanted to say detached, or there's no connection sort of thing, that is gone. Unless other than the imprint, actually also karmic is also non-existent that time. Only the imprint is existent that time. So only the imprint, that imprint, also the seed of the imprint is implanted at the final stage of death, and only that exists. And that also doesn't exist, what we say, uh, uh, primarily. It exists on the secondary level. It exists on a very, 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 very gross level, or what is subtle level. So it's not even though it exists, it's not even aware there. I think it's similar to what we talked about during the was a sleeping pardo, a pardo of sleep, niki pardo. Yeah, so something similar to that. Ngiki Pardo, even though the body is there, but the awareness of the body is very, very subtle, nearly non-existent. Yeah, so they're completely non-existent. It completely disappears. So anyway, something like that. Then I think uh, in the so anyway, based on these reasons, then in the Vajrayana context, Vajrayana context, they talk about this as natural compilation. What do you say? Completion stage. Yeah. So the natural sort of like completion stage is what the Vajrayana context basically uh, pinpointing. So where in the Vajrayana context, when you hear the word naturally, what do you say, completed stage, then I think this is what needs to arise in the mind. Yeah, the stage where the dependence, the coexistence is completely gone. The only dependence is the mind. Then the connection between what has been in the past, whether it be family, whether it be money, whether it be society, whether it be culture, whether it be sickness, whether it be experience, whether it be memory, whatever it may be, all of this, you need to understand that these are all what we say, sort of like just in essence used to exist. The concept of used to exist. When someone dies, someone near to you or someone dies, yeah, before death, then he's there, he's existent, but then after death, then we say he used to. Everything turns to he used to. Oh, she used to do that. Oh, he used to do that. Oh, he used to bring this. Oh, she take. So the concept, I think, same concept, right? Past tense. So the existence no more there. So I think this is what it refers to very clearly. The natural completion stage refers to, right? Then um, what do we say? In the Dzogchen context, in the practice of the Dzogchen, then uh, is mentioned at that, what do we say, uh, um, uh, the ground luminosity, uh, uh, what do we say, drowns, yeah, drowns. Yeah, yeah, so something like that. Then on the basis of that, whether recognized or not, sort of like the itself, the arising of itself sort of like comes into existence. So this is always there, I think. Yeah. And then recognition, whether you are able to recognize or not, that is completely different, but the existence is always there. Yeah, the moment complete completion of the death happen, the arising of the clear light is there. It's right there. Then whether awareness or recognition is there or not, that won't depend on the practice. Yeah. So again, why? I think second reason to why. Yeah. I think now we went two reasons. Yeah. So anyway, second reason to why. What do we say? Why death is a unique spiritual doorway. So that one. Then I think the third reason. Uh, uh, Quite similar, sort of like dualistic references, reference points collapse. Yeah. So the concept of I doing something, the concept of this, uh, uh, this being my experience, the concept of what is happening to me, these ones uh, we tend to rely on when we aren't in that stage of death. But then after that reliance is gone. That also disappears, right? So then the body now, not just the what we say, not just the the what we say, the elements, all of that, but also the body now starts to dissolve. Then together with the body, the sense of time, I think I mentioned earlier, generally how we tend to say, so I think it's 14 days. Yeah. Generally we tend to say 14 days in the Bardo stage, but then that also completely, the time itself, the sense of time itself, I think collapses, it doesn't exist anymore. Then the observer and the observed awaken. Yeah, the concept of the observer and the observed, yeah, awaken. Sort of like, uh, I think this is something like on the basis of non-dual awareness becomes obvious. Yeah, so because of that non-dual what we say, non-dual awareness becoming so, uh, what we say, obvious, then the sense of observer and observed, sort of like uh, weaken in the sense, in something, in the sense of that understanding. So that is there. Then the grasping, I think, is still there. But like I said, the grasping is totally different from the grasping that we experience on our daily life. And our experience of daily life grasping is so real, because we can see it, because we can smell it, because we can hear it, because we can touch it. And this is what it makes so real. Yeah, you have food, you are attached to food, then it's the taste that makes it so grasping, so what do you say, mouth watering or something like that, is it? So that is there. This is because of the tangibleness. then the moment your ability to, what do you say, the ability to feel, to initialize this gone, then everything else disappear. The attachment no more exists there. Now the attachment can exist in memory, like I said, tosun topa, cheshe is always there. So the attachment can exist in the level of cheshe, and on the level of uh, uh, what we say, tosun topa, memory sort of thing. But other than that, the whole essence is gone. Now you have something tangible. You have a kid. You have a small, beautiful kid in front of you. It's your kid. Oh, my kid. This body produce. Then the structure of the face is different from others. This is mine. So all of this is based on the structural, what do we say, conceptual view, or the perceiving. So now the dependence on all of this now is tense. Anyway, at that point, the dependence on all of this is gone. So if it exists, it only exists in the concept of memory. And now, if someone pass away, then you can still depend on the photo and say, yeah, this is him. At that point, even that is gone. There's no photos there. So the only thing is the structure of the memory. How you remember is there. Now, in regards to memory, I think it's very, very, you cannot depend on it. Yeah, we say one person remembers him like this, other person remembers him like that. So structural change. There's no there's no, what we say, uh, uh, agreement on something. And memory is, there's a lot of disagreement. I remember him in certain way. He remembers him in certain way. Some people remember you as a bad person. Some people remember you as a good person. Some people remember you as a kind person. Some people remember you as a not so kind person. That one, like I said, cannot depend on. You cannot depend at all. So that's the only thing that that sort of like remains, sort of thing. So how much uh, grasping towards that, uh, then the grasping itself, I think, tends to cease after a certain time, because memories fade. This is the thing. You remember yesterday you had something, you can remember today, maybe. Then one after 1 week, uh, yeah. Then after 1 month, then after 1 year, you remember what you did last year on the 5th of January. Yeah, so that's how much you can depend on memory. So that is very, very, and cannot depend on. So anyway, the grasping itself again with the memory sort of like dissolves. Uh, and this is over time. So so without this, I think this the non-dual awareness sort of like becomes very, very clear, right? So now I think the fourth reason, so these three reasons, now the fourth reason, I think they, yeah, ngunje, and anyway, so basically, say temporary pause in the karma. Yeah, so most karma we create uh, on the basis of thought, on the basis of action, and the basis of motivation. Motivation, action, and thought. So motivation, I think last time I mentioned, before sleep, if you have a good motivation, then it's sort of like, continuous creating. So motivation, because all of the, what we say, the awareness, the level of awareness, unless you are able to utilize the level of clear light awareness, the clear light existent there, but unless you're able to utilize it, if no use in existence, right? Yeah. So it's like the cup is on the table. Yeah, the cup is on the table, but unless I utilize, is of no use to me. So I think the clear light is something like that at that point. It is there. It is very, very aware. It's the whole, what is the essence of the mind itself, the raw mind itself is there. But then how much you're able to utilize depend on your practice, right? So something similar to that, I think. If you are able to utilize that state of the clear mind, the state of the what is it, non-dualistic, non, you know, uh, the what we said, the clear nature of the mind itself, at that point, then only are you able to now continue with the creation of karma. Otherwise, whole dependence on the motivation said before. This is why even if you cannot practice after death, then during the processing of the death, it's aware to be that the mind is relaxed and it's clear and it's motivated towards creating virtuous concepts and virtuous deeds, mental, mental deeds, virtuous mental deeds, because then it can continue. Otherwise, once the death process happen and then the whole death process finish, then the mind, whether it's able to grasp the clear light stage or the awareness stage, that one is not clear. That one is very, very vague. Some people can, some people cannot. Now depending on, like we said, the more you practice, the more likeliness that you're able to grasp onto, hold on to it is there. Otherwise, hard to hold on to. And once it starts without holding on, then to bring back the ability to hold, that one becomes, I think, very hard. So anyway, so the fifth reason, the fourth reason in regards to the concept of karma. So because of that, then the first level of practice, on the first level of practice, death practice, karma, the concept of the karma being temporarily, sort of like paused. Yeah. So uh, the the whole concept of being able to channel karma is in the regards to lung. Lung is like the wind channel and the mind. Your ability to control the wind channel and the mind within the stages itself. Now that on basis on that, then comes the creation operation of your ability to operate karma. Then at that, once the wind is withdrawn from the central channel, yeah, this is dependent on the body again. Once the wind is sort of withdrawn from the central channel, then the dependence on on your ability to challenge, what do we say, channel is no more there. So therefore, ordinary karmic sort of like flow temporarily sort of like dissolves. So this sort of like creates a gap, not yet the whole stage of the bardo, not the death bardo, but the bardo, the whole stage of the bardo comes because of this. Yeah, because the pause creates a gap. Yeah, not yet driven into rebirth, then not yet, not sort of like held back or held by the grasping, uh, what we say, grasping of the gross identity. Yeah, there's no gross identity there. You cannot identify. The only thing identification existing is the memory. Then the dependence of the memory, like I said, is very vague, doesn't last. So therefore, this is where the whole Bardo concept comes into Bardo concept comes into play, right? So anyway, uh, so that gap itself, yeah, the gap just I explained, not yet driven into rebirth and not held by what we say gross identity. This gap itself again another stage of clear light. So they call it, this one they call the clear light moment. Yeah, so the gap itself, the clear light moment. So uh, like I said, in regards to time, in the text, it explained that it's a very brief, but uh, what do we say? Complete. Yeah. So in the text, explained very brief but complete. It is the only moment where samsaric, what we say, uh, propulsion, I think, propulsion fully release without deliberate yogic control. So there's no deliberate yogic control into where the karma takes you. But even though there's no deliberate yogic control, then still the was a propulsion sort of like happens, the samsaric propulsion. Yeah. So anyway, so this is in regards to the temporary, what do we say, karmic temporary pause, right? So this is again, because of these reasons. Therefore, once if you are able to utilize, then you can fill in the gap. Yeah, the gap that I was explaining. Then you can fill in the gap with all the needed karmic implementations that are necessary in order to awaken the clear light stage and utilize the clear light stage in order to take the necessary steps on the path and ground. And because the clear light stage is, like I said, independent of all of these structural influences, then the utilization is not like utilization as in our daily utilization, where we are sitting down and we are trying to practice and we're trying to motivate and we are trying to think. Is not that. Once you're able to, what we say, plug into the clear light, then it's not try, it's actually the flow starts to happen, the whole flow starts to happen. Yeah, so anyway, in regards to the concept of temporary karmic gap, filling in the temporary karmic gap, this is the practice happens during the death practice, death bardo. Then, because recognition of the death, the fifth reason, because the recognition at death ends the entire cycle. Yeah, so once you are able to recognize, then you are not just fully in control, but then, like I said, because the essence of time, essence of understanding, what do we say, based based our experience on on what do we say, on functional factual things. None of that. Yeah, the gross level of understanding all gone, and the dependence, full independence. So therefore, uh, if the recognition comes at the time of death, then it then once you continue the practice is like, what do we say? Yeah, once you, if you have a river and a dam built, then the river cannot pass the dam. Once the dam broken, then the river flows. Right? So something like that, I think. Even your practice, when it comes to practice, one of the main thing is, of course, the first main thing is because of all of our dualistic views and all our external experiences that are based on the senses, that are based on the body, that are based on the recognition of the I, the identity, so on and so forth. Because of all of that, that is one thing. But that all of that ceased to exist after death. So now after death, then the only thing is the recognition of the clear light. So that is like the dam. Once the recognition of clear light there, and you hold on to it, then the utilization is like the dam being broken, and then the flow starts to happen. Make sense? Little bit too much. So anyway, then I think the sixth reason, because death is, what do we say, inevitable. Yeah, this is based on the teaching, Jezonghopa teaching, Lamrim. Of course, Buddha mentioned, but then more extends, more, what do we say, explained on our level of understanding, on our what do we say, samsaric level of understanding, then Jerimbuje composed Lamrim. So within the Lamrim, is mentioned, and death is certain, its time is uncertain. And this is one of the other truths. So, because you cannot escape death, then death is coming, no matter who it is, where we are, how we are, what we are, whether rich, whether poor, whether this, whether that. The samsaric circumstances does not matter at all. 100% does not matter at all. Death coming. Yeah. Now time is uncertain. Some people that coming earlier, some people that coming later. That one different. But other than that, these two facts, truths is there. So even if not practice, if not what we say truly engrossed in the concept of practice of death, even if that is not there, then at least we need prepare for these truths. These truths cannot escape. So even if enlightenment and that and this and all of those things, even that one you can, if not interested, you can leave aside. But you need to face the truth. Yeah, you need to face the reality in front of us, which is death. Death is there. So just like Lamrim explained by Jezongapa, time uncertain, then death is certain. So through that utilization, that will happen. Uh, But then recognition, that will happen, but then recognition may or may not happen. Yeah. Now recognition happening and not happening, that is in our hands. That is not in our hands. That is happening. Yeah. So the recognition of the clear light, that is in our hands. So utilization of the practice in order to grasp onto the recognition, that one I think is the main focus within the Lamrim itself as well when it comes to the concept of death. It's the recognition that we need to focus on, not the death. The death is there, is coming, is cannot avoid. Nothing you can do about it. As long as the samsaric chain existence is there, then that is there. And if the fear is so strong, then the whole concept is through recognition. Through recognition, then comes liberation. And once liberation, then comes the end of needing to samsaric chain of death over and over. That one disappears. So unless recognition is there, then it cannot cease. And as long as samsaric existence is there, then death is there. And this one, I think, doesn't matter who it is. Yeah, there's no existing uh, living being uh, right now here that has existed for countless times. That is a true fact. I mean, in other religions they talk about what is it? Uh, what do you call that? Never dying. What is the word? Un. Uh, uh,
Immortality?
Immortality. Yeah, yeah. Immortal. Yeah, they talk about immortal. Where is immortal? Where? Yeah, Buddha existed 2,500 years. Where's Buddha now? Then they talk Jesus, they talk Allah, I don't know, all of these different you know beings. Immortal. Then immortal, then where? That's the question, no? If you want to prove immortal, then after 3,000, 5,000 years, you need to, yeah, I'm still here, yeah. That we can, oh, yes, immortal. This is all stories, it's all, you know, that whether you are a god, whether every being throughout history, whether immortal, whether non-immortal, doesn't exist now. Gone, finish. So that whether some people the concept of immortality comes up because maybe hope, maybe some kind of power or something, but there's no existence. That doesn't exist. Samsara, that is there. Whether you are a Buddha, whether you are that, whether you are this, that. Once you're born in samsaric world, then you need to face that. This one cannot change. And if you are immortal and you are still alive, then I think His Holiness also mentioned this. If you are, they say there's all the kinds of these kinds of practitioners and practices. If you're there, then you should come out now. You should prove it. Now is the time to prove. You cannot prove anything hiding in the cave, no? Because there are a lot of stories in the Vajrayana context in Tibetan Buddhism. There's a lot of stories about these great beings going into the caves and still being alive in the caves. Then the Dalai Lama called them out. One of the teachings I remember, I think it was, I think it was in Dashlumpo or somewhere. And his Holiness say, "Hey, if you are there, come out now. It's time to prove." Yeah. So anyway, who are we kidding? Yeah, that is there. Yeah. Even if you're God, even you, no one's alive now, gone, finish. Maybe you're alive in a different realm, but that doesn't mean you didn't. That doesn't mean you didn't die here. Yeah, that is here. That through the process of that, then you can reach another point. Yes, that is there. But then, other than that, that happens. There's no immortality in the concept. Yeah. So anyway, as long as we have a samsaric body, then death is there. We cannot escape. So practice practice is not to control death, but to be familiar enough, uh, 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 familiar enough not to what we say, not to separate ourselves from spirituality when it happens. Yeah, that's the concept, I think. And the trained is mentioned, the trained recognize, the untrained fall unconscious. Yeah, this is in the text mentioned. This is the I think within the concept of the teaching of death, I think this is through great compassion that these teachings exist. Yeah. So uh, to recognize again, the practice of recognition comes into place. So anyway, these are the reasons why this practice exists. So now we go deeper. So I think the Chive Bardo, the Bardo of death, exists. The Bardo that begins when the sign of death first appears and then ends with the final, what do we say, outer breath, we call it, right? Chilung. Yeah, Chilung is a sort of like outer breath. So anyway, Chive Bardo, the Bardo of death, this is the where it exists. It's very, I think, very short time, happens very fast. Yeah, the signs of death from the first moment of the signs of death appearing till the last breath, or the what is the final external breath, outer breath. This one, that's the time the bardo exists. The most, I think, critical transition point for liberation, then a moment when gross mind dissolves, revealing subtle mind. Yeah, the clear light. If you are able to concentrate on the clear light, the subtle mind, then the key opportunity, direct recognition of the clear light itself. Yeah, so being able to grasp onto the clear light, and this all happens in that sense of the pardo itself. Because once you chive pardo finish, and then the pardo appear, then it's just the stage itself. Like I said, it's like if you cannot create, if you cannot create good motivation before falling into sleep, then once fall into sleep, then you no control. Yeah, what you dream and all of this. Some people before they fall asleep, then they go, oh, maybe if I can dream about my gurus, maybe if I can dream about that, then they fall. This is the only control we have. After a fall of sleep gone, then finish. Right? Then until the alarm clock is whole sleeping process, yeah, like unconscious. The ability, other like I said, other than your ability to awaken the what we say, the dream state, then otherwise inability. So the whole point of this is awakening the dream state, or awakening that state, and that's your ability to awaken that stage is based on the death pardo. Because at death pardo, if you are able to hold on to the the clear light popping up, and not worrying and attachment and anger and fear and this, if you're not clinging on to those, and you're aware, your awareness, your mind is very clear, focusing on the clear stage of the mind itself, then you are able to hold on to it. Then when you are dying, then why me? Then the whole process of your ability to grasp onto the awareness, that one sort of like disappears. So anyway, that is there. So mm, mm, so I think generally explained as the most critical transition point for liberation. Yeah, like I mentioned, the moment when the gross mind dissolves, then the subtle mind, revealing the subtle mind, and then the key opportunity, direct recognition of the clear light. You may say. So anyway, so that one is there. Then I think before death, then the cause and conditions. Yeah, normally one of the things is all of our energy spent going through the cause and condition. Why? Then no time to focus, no time to hold on to onto the opportunity. Yeah. So I think something like that. So just so that you don't miss the opportunity, then the understanding the concept of the science, or what is the cause and conditions of the death, I think is important. And that one of the things most profoundly taught is what do you say, completion of karma. Yeah. So when it comes to life itself, like I said. Yeah, completion of karma, cause and conditions, completion of the conditions that you have created. Last time I mentioned, when you pray today, if you pray today, oh, tomorrow, may I have a good day tomorrow, then your prayer ends tomorrow when you have a good day. Finish. No more the prayer power finish. No more work. Then if I say, oh, I pray for this year, then after 2026 finish, then prayer finish. Its work is done. But if you pray until enlightenment, then continues. Until you reach enlightenment, this prayer has its work. It has to do something, right? So the continuity of the prayer is there. So something similar to that as well, I think. Yeah, when it comes to completion of karma, yeah, you create the conditions. Yeah, praying for today is creating the condition. Then completion is once today is finished, then the prayer completion finish. The conditioning you creating is finishing. Yeah, this is what my teacher used to say, don't live mouth to mouth. I think in the West they say paycheck to paycheck. So, yeah, my teacher used to say, don't think mouth to mouth. Every day. Oh, today if I eat have something to eat today, then tomorrow I don't. So no. When you're talking about karma and conditioning, you need to think forward. The more forward you can think, the better the conditioning you can do. So again, the completion. Then this one, we make a lot of conditioning. We create a lot of conditioning. Then when the conditioning finish, then the karma finish. Yeah, the exhaustion. Then death happens when the exhaustion happens, right? So completion. So one of the main reason is completion of the karma. Then second is interruption of life force. Yeah, so interruption of life force again is a karmic essence again, in regards to how what is how the conditioning happens. Yeah. s- uh, Once uh, some people, someone in their family, they had very serious condition. Yeah, I think I don't remember what it was, but some very serious accident or something like that. Then one of the family members, then they took them hospital. Then after taking hospital, then they, oh, what can we do? How can we do that? So they, they do all of the things that the doctor tell them to do. Then they went to a Lama as well. Then the Lama say, oh, also do this puja, do that puja, do all of these pujas. Yeah. So then the doctor did what they can. Then doctor job is done. Then after that, the Lama did what he can. He do all the pujas and everything. Then after the puja finished, then the person died. The- then the people got very, what do you say, what do you call that? sort of like unhappy, not happy. So they went to the Lama and they said, what are you doing? You kill our person. After you did puja, then he died. So then the Lama say, "Oh, I, I completed his karma before he had to experience everything." So something like that. I don't know how that exactly works. You know, but anyway, this is also just a story, to, sort of like to give a concept view on how things tend to work in some ways. Anyway, completion of karma depending on so many different contexts. So anyway, interruption of the life force, or what you call life karma, that also tends to happen. Then most of those tend to happen in regards to through accidents, through illness, through very sudden conditions. Yeah. So then again, exhaustion of merit and lifespan, that is also there. Yeah. Whatever we are enjoying, yeah, you pay for 1 hour, I don't know what, 1 hour massage, for example. Yeah, you pay for 1 hour massage, then you enjoy massage 1 hour. After 1 hour, then exhaustion, finish. Yeah, you have exhausted your karma to have the massage. Yeah, then what do you say? Now people go into this bubble, hot water bubble like this. They relax in the water like this. Anyway, that one also, right? You pay half an hour, then you go in, then after half an hour exhaustion, finish. Yeah, so karma also something like that. The crazy conditioning you create, then exhaustion is also there. It's not everlasting. Conditioning is not everlasting. Conditioning is based on the conditioning that you create. So this is why when we are creating conditions, yeah, not paycheck to paycheck, we don't create conditions paycheck to paycheck. We create conditions towards enlightenment. This is why it's important. Yeah, so anyway, that is there. So um, uh, generally how one has trained during life determine the, what we say, determine our capacity to recognize what can unfold forward. Yeah, so this one also mentioned within the text. Yeah, now I don't remember exactly who, but one of the masters say, if you want to know what you were in next life, then you look this life, and based on what you have and how you are this life, then you see, oh yeah, past life, what I was in my past life. Then if you want to know what you will be in your next life, then you again look at this life, structure of the mind, the thinking, the thought, the motivation, the conditions, so on and so forth, how utilizations, all of these things you look, then you understand, you sort of get a brief idea on where you are going to go next life. Maybe not a very very detailed instruction, oh yeah, you will be here at this point, and not like that, but roughly you understand. So this is why once you live a virtuous life, yeah, what do we say, um uh, Tsudim, uh moral, once you live a moral ethical life, then fear of next life is gone. This is what His Holiness mentions. The people who fear next life are the ones who, questionable whether they are living a moral and ethical this life or not. Then you can start to fear, yes. And then you can start to work on conditioning for the next life. But if you have moral grounds, if you are on moral grounds, and this is why His Holiness is being not harming others is also a great compassion. Because we have a tendency of doing harm to others here and there. So if you cannot help others, at least not harm. I think His Holiness mentions this is my religion or something like that. It is, if you cannot help, at least don't harm. So anyway, same concept. I think you mash those two together in regards to understanding karma as well. Yeah, you need to know that you have nothing to fear as long as you live a moral, ethical, spiritual, life. What you do within your days here and there, and how you do it, this is a different thing. But moral and ethical uh, 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 concept in regards to what we say practice, that is, I think the sort of like the essence. So anyway, that is there. So I think generally this concept of cause and conditioning important in regards to being well prepared, yeah, so that there's no fear. So anyway, then the process of death itself happening. Then when the process of death itself is happening, then there's outer signs of approaching death. Yeah, there. Uh, 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 Generally people always think outer signs, absorbing outer signs by others, someone else has to come and do it. This is why one of the reasons why this practice of what we say liberation during the death time, Hoa, they do this because it's dependent on others. But in general I don't think it's that it's like that. I think it's more dependent on ourselves. Yeah. So anyway, there are physical signs, then there are behavioral signs. Um, I think in the text, they mentioned five physical signs. Yeah. So five physical signs. One is the weakness of the body, loss of coordination. Then second is breath becomes sort of like irregular. Yeah. Shallow, sort of uh, what we say, sort of like shallow and irregular sort of thing. Then loss of appetite and digestion, these are also there. Then I think when it comes to dissolvement of elements, then you start to feel the dissolvement of elements. So then feel heavy. When the air element dissolves, then you start feeling heavy. When the what we say when the fire element dissolves, then you start feeling cold. Your whole body starts to sort of like become cold. Then I think in regards to what we say consciousness, not consciousness, organ. So in regards to the five consciousnesses in organ, then the organ starts to, their function, the organ function starts to cease. So then comes I think, for example, the eye sort of starts to lose the clarity. Yeah. Then the ear sense also starts to. So all the different senses start to degrade in that sense. Then then within the behavioral science, then I think withdrawal from outer concerns, that is there. The inner fear. No, generally this is one of the things. The inner fear, the inner fear takes over. Whether the fear or whether it's concentration, this is dependent on the practitioner. Most people no practice, then fear, yeah, very strong fear that takes over. So sort of like withdraw from outer concerns is there. Then inner turmoil starts to appear, or inner practice starts to appear. Then of course one thing is your ability to perform. Yeah, so then speech, for example, is also sort of like difficulty comes in regards to performing actions such as speech. Then decreased responsiveness when it comes to what do we say, not just the action but the response as well. So that also sort of like decreases. I think these mainly these ones, external behaviors. Then inner signs of approaching death, I think there's more focused on the three inner signs. Yeah. First is I think confusion and vivid clarity. Yeah, they say vivid clarity. Yeah, confusion, vivid clarity. Then depending, I think that one also depending a lot on practice and karma, whether confusion is there or not, depends on practice very, very, very clearly, I think. Yeah. So the more the practice, the more the death practice, the less the, what do we say, unclearness. Yeah. So the more we practice, then the less the confusion. Yeah. So something like that. Yeah, we say if you have been down the road 100 times, then there's no confusion in where you need to go. As some people, they are able to drive when they are drunk, and they drive bike when they're a little bit not drunk but tipsy sort of thing. But because they know the road very well, then they reach. But then if you're going new road, then then you don't know what coming out of where. So anyway, something like that. So our ability to be very clear or very confused, that one also depend on the practice. Yeah. Then I think what do you call emotional, like becoming stronger. What do you call intensifying? Yeah, emotionally intensify. Yeah, so emotional intensify, I think in regards to reaction becomes very, 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 very clear. So, like I said, uh, whether it be fear, whether it be attachment, or whether it be devotion, or whether it be just calmness. These are all different results of different practitioners. When there's no practice, then generally fear is, I think, one of the very clear signs. Then some practitioners, some people who are more of a more of a acceptance, not in the case of practice, but more sort of like, yeah, okay, I accept my death. Then there's a little bit more calmness. People who practice, then there's strong devotion, strong compassion, actually, and then also a very strong realization of the view of emptiness. These things appear in regards to what we say uh, inner science. Then, of course, spontaneous memories, visions, uh, what we say, symbolic appearances. This one, I think, also depending on the mind. Yeah, uh, a lot of people have, especially in regards to fear, then I think a lot of memories start to come up. Yeah, and then in regards to, I think, devotion and these things, then a lot of visions start to come up. Then, in regards to, I think, what we say, faith and all of this, then symbolic appearances start to come up. These are mostly created by the mind, but these tend to appear. This is just a science. Yeah. So, in regards to all of these things, of course, most important sign is in regards to the dissolving of the elements. Yeah, chunga timba. We say chunga is element, and timba is sort of like going inwards, sort of like dissolving. Yeah. So, first, chu. No, 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 chu. Sorry. First, sa. Yeah, sa is earth. Earth dissolves into water. When you pour anyway, so first sign is the earth sign dissolving into the water. So in that outer signs, in regards to the dissolving, the outer signs is the body loses strength, then cannot support itself. Yeah, so the strength to support itself sort of like dissolves. Then inner signs, a vision of what do we say, not visions, but like, I don't know what you call it. Um, when you go into the desert, then if you have not drank, then you see things.
Mirage.
Marriage, oh, mirage, yeah, that's
Mirage.
the word, mirage. So sort of like mirage appearing, I think, within the mind itself. Like nothing is real, seems so real, but then when you go, then disappear. That sort of thing. And I think one of the reasons why the fear uh, starts, I think, during the earth dissolving process, the fear, that's where the fear actually starts to arise. And the fear, one of the main reasons why the fear starts to arise is because of these visions, mirage, yeah, appearing. So that is there. Then in regards to the mind experiences, I think now you start to feel weakness. Yeah, we are so dependent on our body, and generally strength is defined by the body. Yeah, when your body able, capable, and all of that, then we think, oh, I'm strong. Then when the ability not there, then oh, I'm weak. Yeah. So this is how we are generally connecting to our body. So because you start to see the strength and all of this dissolving, then I think within the mind also you feel like you're shrinking down. No more strength, sort of thing. Yeah. So you feel like everything is sort of like piling on front of you. Everyone seems to look bigger. Everything seems to look bigger, something like that, I think. And this is, I think, where the mirage also sort of like sort of like connection between the mirage, because everything seems to appear the way it is not. Yeah, so that is there. Then the second one, and through that, then the element of water. becomes first rising, then start to dissolve, water dissolving into the fire element. So during the different practices, anyway, forget the practice. So anyway, second stage is water dissolve into fire. Then I think external appearances dry. Um, what do you call dry mouth? Yeah, after dehydrate, then your mouth becomes very dry. So that one, and then also body starts, the fluids within the body starts to stop, not stop completely, but the flow starts to become more slow. At the in the text is mentioned that the speed, the fluids in the body through the channels going very fast. I think this one also proven by science also, right? So you have the fluids in the body going up and down, up and down, based on the heat, based on the pumping of the heart, and so on and so forth. But because of that, then the fluid of the body con consistently, continuously, always sort of thing. But then during that stage, then this becomes slower. The fluids become sort of like that. So the outer sign, then inner sign. I think they say tuana nawa, tuana shina nawa is like smoke appearance, smoke like appearances. Yeah. So then I think because your eye, the water in your eye also start to produce, not produce, but coming slower, than your vision, you start to see very, like, extra, yeah, something like that. Unclear. Mm. So something like that, I think the body itself starts to look like it's of no fluid. Yeah, so something like that. Then within the mind, then I think a very strong uh, thirst, very strong need to drink a lot of water, something like that coming, I think. And then together with this, then the emotion now, imbalance of the emotion. So now whatever fear that are coming up, whatever, what do we say, what do we say, whatever fear from the shrinking that coming up, then that one also going all over the place. So anyway, what do we say? Internal emotional turmoil, we call it, right? So instability sort of starts to happen. I think more strong at that time. Then third one, the fire. Now fire, yeah, me, then lung, yeah, fire go dissolve into the what is the wind. So wind channel, yeah. So the fire dissolving into the wind channel, then I think during that time, then that's where the heat starts to disappear. Yeah, so now you have your warmth of your body, yeah, now starts when someone touches you, then your hands feel very cold, your whole body starts to feel very cold. Then I think when it comes to internal work, because our system, what do you call that, internal digesting system is functioning, right? So I think that ceased to function, that the digesting system completely shuts down that time. So that one. Then I think um, uh, uh, what do you call that? Uh, Nang Nangje is, sometime I'm not so sure. Sometimes people experience, especially when there's lack of oxygen, then they start to see like spark sort of things around. I don't know. You experience? Any one of you experience? Like small lights going around somewhere around. You cannot focus on them. Like you cannot see them in the main focal point, but somewhere around. Maybe if I'm focusing on the computer here, then around here maybe you can start to see. I don't know if you experience. Some people experience these things. So sparks, these kind of sparks, I think become more vivid, more, sort of like become more. Uh, I don't know how to say. So anyway, these, and then yeah. So they in the text mention fireflies. I don't know how fireflies appear, but then in the text they mention as fireflies, and then sparks. This is the spark they talk about, but then yeah, fireflies. I'm not so sure. Something we need to check. So anyway, that is there, yeah, internal. Then the mind, then the clarity is fading. Yeah, wow, slowly the clarity, your ability to be to recognize, to react in regards to, in regards to people when people ask you a question, nodding, and this clarity, it happens when there's clarity there. The doctor normally, I think, they look with the torchlight in the eye. They open the eye like this and they go like this, the reaction. So that one also, I think, starts to disappear at this point. So yeah, so that fading. Then again, through the turbulence, emotional turbulence that you experience when the water dissolves into the fire, then when the fire dissolves into the wind, then I think strong agitation. Yeah, so emotional turbulence creates agitation. So strong agitation starts to appear in that state. Then the final stage. Now, finally, now the wind goes into the consciousness. Yeah, wind dissolves into the consciousness. Uh, so within the consciousness element, now this is where everything, I think, becomes very clear. Yeah, so the clear light, the Seshi Rigpa, we say the clear light, the aware, clear and aware point. You're reaching the clear and aware point, because once the dissolving happen into the consciousness, then that's the only thing that is left more anymore. Yeah, so your whole connection to the body is completely gone. So when the wind sort of like dissolves into the consciousness, the outer sign, yeah, breath becomes subtle, then stops. Yeah, so finally the breath, yeah, we say last breath sort of thing. So that one happens. Then inner sign is I think, um I'm not sure, uh, in the text mentioned, you start to see butter lamps. I think in the Western psychology, you also see the light, yeah, some kind of light appearing. There, that is there, yeah. So the wavering of the light, or the light appearing, something like that. So anyway, that is mentioned. I'm not so clear on all of that. I mean, on this one particularly, but then inner sign is mentioned, that the light appears, and then mind, sense of what we say, connection towards the body, now completely gone. Yeah, so now your ability to sense the body, the awareness, where you're connected to the body, that one is completely gone. I think this is where the most, what we have been talking about in the past. I mean, in the beginning, where I was talking about all of these different results. So this is where the most is starting to happen in regards to dissolvement of the of the what is it? The body, the connection between the mind and the body. What time? Late? I'm a little bit too late. Stop.
You
Everyone
you
okay?
are, but we
Continue.
couldn't stop. It was in the perfect. We couldn't stop. It was, you can't stop in the middle of death. So
This is not finished yet. So anyway, so this is the dissolving of the elements. Then I think comes the dissolving of the consciousnesses. Yeah, not then, but during the stages of the dissolving of the elements, the dissolving of the consciousness, that one also happens. So basically, the eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, and then the mental consciousness. Right. So then through that consciousness, I think when it comes to the dissolving of the mental consciousness, then the appearance, I think the light appearance, where we talk about the butter lamp or the lamp, the light, that one has to do with the appearances of the white, and the what do we say, increase, we call it increase or increase, something like that. The white, um, is the anyway, appearance of the white and the red. Yeah, the red too, blood and semen. Yeah, semen, you call it semen. Yeah, so blood, the appearance of the semen and the blood, these two connection, the final, these lead directly into the three inner appearances, right? So during that stage, these come, then these are after the dissolving of these eight, yeah, what we say, eight consciousnesses, no, six consciousnesses and the two, what we say, the white and the red, the semen and the blood. This one dissolving of these then lead to the inner appearance. Yeah, they lead to the direct into the three inner appearances. And then the three inner appearances, now the Nawa Karbo, Nawa Kampo is the white appearance. Then Chiwa Marbo, red blood, what we say, sort of thing. Then the what do we say, Nyirtop Nakbo is the black, black near attainment. Yeah. So anyway, these three things. This one normally when you do tantric practice, this one always we always say no kapo chiwa mapo no. So this one is there always. So anyway, these three things leading to these three inner appearances. Then white appearance, I think more like moonlight, clear sky. Yeah, clear at nighttime. It's not white, complete white, but at nighttime when there's moonlight, it's white, but white sort of like in the dark sort of thing. I think something like that. So that one, and then arise, what do we say? Uh, the white semen, the essence descends from the crown. So from the crown, then uh, I think the feeling is that the awareness, what it the essence, the awareness, what is aware of is that the essence comes down, from the crown, descending down. Then descending into the what we say, uh, descending downwards, and then completely uh, the grossness sort of like completely subsides. The gross form of the mind completely subsides from that. Then the red is like, I think again, not red in color red, but I think more like, sunlight sort of thing red. When in the if you go look at sunrise, then sometime like orangey red, something like that. I think that one, uh, uh, sort of like filling the sky, sort of that kind of appearance, then arising as a red essence, the essence from the what we say, the white essence from the crown, then the red essence from the navel, sorry. Yeah, the white essence from the crown, yeah, coming down, then the red essence, as red essence coming from the navel. Yeah, then subtle consciousness dissolves there. Then the, what do we say, not just the gross consciousness, but the subtle consciousness also starts to completely, it like blacken sort of thing. Yeah, so once it's like sleeping, I think. Yeah, first when I don't know, when you sleep, I don't know if you have thought about it, but when you sleep, then when you close your eyes, yeah, first open, then shut down, then the appearance, the external appearance disappearing. Then once eyes is completely shut, then internal, then the mind is starting to see things, or functioning its own sort of small awareness is functioning. Then once the awareness slowly dims down, then it seems like the awareness dissolves into blackness. I don't know if you have experienced that. Yeah, something like that. So quite similar, I think. So the same essence, the light clear essence coming, feeling like it's coming downwards. Then the red essence, I think it's more like a sort of like a uh, I don't know how to explain. But anyway, this one coming from the navel. And now with these two, the two consciousness, the gross consciousness and subtle consciousness completely coming down, subsiding. Yeah. Then that one creates the blackness. This is the black near attainment. Yeah. Nyetop marbu. Yeah. So the darkness like sort of like it's like fainting or like going into deep sleep. Yeah. Then the eye consciousness no the inability to see things sort of thing, something like that, I think. So even in the mental consciousness, sort of like complete darkness, dullness sort of thing. So uh then at that point, then only the very, very, very subtle mind remains. Oh, you want to stop or you want to continue?
I think it might be getting late in different parts of the
Yes, yes.
country, so
Okay, so this one we continue. We not finish, so we continue. Thank you. See the peace campaign more to a full sense of the outcome in the practice occurs if you practice and done because of karma. There's a lot of questions here. We do question next session is okay? Yeah, yeah. So I think question we do a lot of questions here. So anyway, the process. Yeah, yeah, I stop. Chanjo sim boje ma ye bana ye ye je kya anya ba me ba ya kon ne kon do be wa ye sho to nyi da wa rim boje ma ye bana ke je kya anya ba me ba ya kon ne kon do be wa ye sho tip ke chu te ke me che chu de na ba da da ne lo sa me be chu de ba ro chen do. Oh, sorry, took very long today, but I hope you enjoy. Uh, like I always say, main concept all of this is not to bring fear, not to do that, not to do this, mainly to just recognize, to understand. And the main method of practice is to 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 develop joy in the practice. And this practice also, I think this whole explanation is in order to develop more compassion and generate more the concept of the view of emptiness, and nothing more than that. So if you can connect all of these understandings with compassion and the view of emptiness, that I think is the main practice. Yeah, understanding this and understanding that, and how it's done, how is this, how is that, what are the feelings, these are just uh, external conditioning, and these are not, I wouldn't say these are 100%. People experience different things at different times. This is sort of like the general explanation. So anyway, thank you so much, and I see you next week. Yeah. Okay.
thank you.